Welcome to the Butterfly Effect. I'm Chris Horner. This is the Vuelta, España, stage 21, 33.8 kilometers, about 21 miles in length. Now, when we went to bed last night, I saw on all the comments about stage 20s, Miguel Angel Lopez dropping out of the race after he got dropped from the GC favorites and lost his third place on the podium at this year's Vuelta, España. A lot of guys went down hard on him. On the Butterfly Effect, I left it a little easy because I figured there might have been a little drama involved, and lo and behold, the drama does appear. Movistar, it seems like, told Lopez not to chase the GC favorites up the road, which would be absolutely ridiculous and above a knucklehead mistake to make from the directors or managers, whoever gave him the word not to chase. Later, we saw him drop out, and I can only imagine what kind of feelings he had while watching his third place podium finish go away up the road and being told not to chase that group. Knucklehead mistake for sure in my book. Now, at my age, I would have chased 100%, but you got to remember, these guys are in their 20s and early 30s. They have a different experience when they're talking to the directors and managers who are running these teams versus a guy of my age jumping in there who would have just said, "You're crazy, I'm going across the gap 100%. So in my mind, there's a little more we got to wait for to find out what all the reasons were for Lopez dropping out of this year's Vuelta España early on yesterday's stage 20. Now let's get into the action of today's stage, because when we went to bed last night, we know Primoz Roglic has the Vuelta wrapped up, assuming he doesn't crash or have some kind of mishap on today's course. When the cameras come on, it's Joseph Cherney, DeCunit Quickstep, who's in the hot seat, and he set a fast time, but we know there's more fast riders to come because we got to get into the top 10, and we have Magnus Cort Nielsen up there who's just throwing in a blazing time through the first time check and the second. When he crosses the finish line, he'll beat DeCunit Quickstep's Cherney time by 1 minute and 2 seconds. That won't be the only show he puts on, because when he gets in the hot seat, he's going to throw a second show on for all the viewers sitting on the couch. We'll see Fabio Aru cross the finish line for the last time in his career at a Grand Tour as he's retiring at the end of the season. Let me remind you guys, he won the 2015 edition of the Vuelta España and has had a fantastic career throughout his cycling years. Fabulous, well done, well-deserved Fabio Aru. I hope you enjoy your retirement years from pro cycling. Now let's get back to the action, because EF Education's Magnus Cort Nielsen's been sitting in the hot seat, but he's getting a little bored now. No worries though, because the top 10 general classifications are just getting ready to leave as we see Sepp Kuss leave the ramp. He'll take the day off, well-deserved day off, I gotta say, because Sepp Kuss was fabulous throughout this 3 weeks. Somehow coming back from those earlier mountain stage finishes where he's getting dropped to being solid throughout the mountain stages at the finish of this year's Vuelta España. Next to go off is Egan Bernal, who sets a solid time on today's race and will finish 6th at the end of the day. Next is Adam Yates, followed by Jack Haig. Now this is 4th and 3rd on the general classification, only split up by 1 minute. If Adam Yates is spectacular or Jack Haig should falter today's race, there's going to be a switch in the podium here at this year's Vuelta España. Adam Yates will set a blistering time through the first time check, and he'll be up by about 20 seconds on Jack Haig, and the drama is starting to build. Jack Haig is riding steady though throughout the stage, and when we get to the second time check, now all of a sudden Jack Haig is in a solid position to defend this year's Vuelta España podium position. Next to go off is Enric Mas, Movistar, as he leaves the start ramp, followed by Primoz Roglic, race leader. Enric Mas is having a solid ride, but Primoz Roglic is absolutely blazing back there. He goes through the first time check, 20 seconds up on Magnus Cort Nielsen. All of a sudden, Magnus Cort Nielsen perks up, and he's no longer bored in the hot seat, and he's starting to pay attention to the race, because Primoz Roglic is just blazing on the pedals back there. By the second time check, though, Primoz Roglic loses 3 seconds to Magnus Cort Nielsen, and now is only leading by 17 seconds. Primoz Roglic will have some difficulty coming up with a left turn when he tries to shoot straight and comes up to the tape, and all of a sudden has to lean his bike left hard to avoid going off the course. He'll get back on the pedals, and with 4 kilometers to go, Enric Mas, the Movistar riders, is in the crosshairs of Primoz Roglic. By 3 kilometers, Primoz Roglic is a little bit closer to Enric Mas. 1.5 kilometers to go. Enric Mas is losing time to Primoz Roglic, who is rolling up onto his back wheel. 500 meters to go. Primož Roglič has Enric Mas just in front of him. And with the last right turn, Primož Roglič will fly by Enric Mas and start sprinting all the way to the line to dislodge Magnus Cort Nielsen out of the hot seat and win today's race, putting a stamp of authority on this year's Vuelta España with not only the win on the last stage, but remember, he won stage 1. He's won 2 road stages during the middle of this year's Vuelta España, and now he bookends it at the Cathedral for another win, his 4th win on today's race. Now, Magnus Cort Nielsen, I got to remind you guys, he had 3 and was racing for his 4th. So the battle between Primož Roglič was for the stage and for who could walk out of this year's Vuelta España with the most individual stage victories. Primož Roglič will take that 4th-stage victory in today's time trial to dominate the 2021 Vuelta España. Now, when we're talking the other general classification victories, it's Fabio Jakobsen, the Kunit Quickstep, who will wrap up green. Gino Mader will take the best young riders jersey. Michael Storer from DSM will take the KOM classification. And Bahrain Victorious, who started this year's Vuelta España as the team that with the best, strongest numbers, will win the team classification at the end of today's stage. Let me point one last thing out before we leave this year's Vuelta España. Primož Roglič, who blazed today's stage with an average speed of 46 kilometers per hour in just over 44 minutes. Not only did he win the stage, but after crossing the finish line, he went straight to celebrations with his Jumbo-Visma teammates. I've never seen it where a rider comes through a TT and dominating like he did at today's race, not just be passed out and need at least 5-10 minutes to recover from today's efforts. He is magnificent. Clearly one of the best riders in the world. It was fantastic watching this year's Vuelta España. Primož Roglič delivered throughout multiple stages to entertain all of us fans watching at home. I hope you guys all enjoyed the race as much as I did. I loved calling it here on the Butterfly Effect, and I'll see you guys real soon on the next edition, probably the World Championships that's coming up in about 2 weeks' time, but I'll have some more videos out for you guys to enjoy between now and then. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you real soon.